Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good day, everyone. This is Muhammad Nasim Faiz Shojib, and I am here with a brand new topic, and it is on modals. And the name and the title is the modes of modals mode. Lots of aims in the title, but you need to understand we are here to talk about different modes or different moods of modals, or in one sense we can say we are here to I'm here to talk about the modes of modals, different mood, and the sources I have used in this particular slide narration are mostly from New Hillway 3rd edition intermediate students book, and also I have taken some references from Oxford Practice Grammar, and I have to mention that I also take different information from different internet sources. So let's start. Definitely we are going to expose and look deeply on modals, because it is one of the key grammatical items which we need to master in order to develop our both oral and written expression. So let's start. So here are our contents. We'll start straight with the objectives. So why should we need to understand and study and learn modals? So objectives will describe that, and then we'll start with the topic by through introduction. Yes, and we will be looking at different shades of modals. So we will talk about grammatical rules, and what we have to do, what we have to look, what we have to notice as through our expression whenever we are trying to generate a different expression. And then we will be looking at different applications of models. I always believe that the language are mostly based on context. So contexts are very much necessary to understand a grammatical item, and in this grammatical item it doesn't vary. Yes, so we need to understand the context in order to understand the application of models. And there will be some practice activities. I will give you one practice activity, and I will show you how you can have more practices there, and this particular slide narration will end with the conclusion and question answer. So let's see what are our objectives for this particular slide narration. So here are our objectives: modals and their application in English language. Yes, as I strongly believe that not only for English language, for any English language, it is very important to apply whatever you are going to learn. Maybe this could be your writing skill, maybe this could be your speaking skill, or maybe reading skill, or maybe grammatical skill, but you have to focus on the application. How should you apply in the language? So that's our main target. And use of modals in real life English. Yes, we will be injecting different modes of modals, or different models in different real life contexts or real life situation whenever we will be trying to explore in English language. And of course we'll be looking at developing our language sense, because models is one of the areas which needs close concentration, because so though it is one of the forms of verbs, but still there are many issues which we can differentiate from verbs. So we need to look very closely to understand and the language sense and so whenever we'll be applying models in different contexts. So those will be our objectives. I believe with proper concentration, I believe with proper affiliation and adjustment and interest, you will be able to develop all of the objectives shown in this particular slide. So let's jump to the introduction. Let's jump to the models. Okay, before doing so, I have some pictures to show where you can have a very tiny little idea about models. So look at these pictures first. Don't just forget about the sentences written on the picture, depicted on the picture. Just go with the pictures. So you can see one is going outside and the sun is turning, so that means it is evening, and maybe this is the mother and this is the daughter, and the mother is talking something to her daughter, and in the next picture we can see the daughter is hurrying to going somewhere, and we can see the time frame. We can see also see different people who are enjoying, and there are stars are there and black shades, so we can understand the context. So the context is the mother wants her daughter to come back home by 11, so that means 11 o'clock in the night or in the evening. And whenever we can see that it is 10:45 and the girl is still enjoying the party, but she remembers about her mother, and her mother said to reach by home at 11. So look at the sentences now. You must be home by 11 o'clock. By 11, okay, you must be home by 11. So it is one kind of obligation, I can say. So there is certain things that this particular daughter must follow. And we can see in 10:45 she has just only has 15 minutes. So 15 minutes all she has. So she needs to hurry, so that is the time she has uttered this one. By I have to be home by 11. I have to be home by 11. So have to is modals, must is modal. So this is one tiny example of modals, and you can all the sentences you can put must and have to in the gaps. You must stay in bed for a few days, and I have to stay in bed for a few days. So those are the obligations. You must answer all 4 questions. You have 3 hours to complete the exam. That means the particular student he needs to sit. So he's saying that I have to sit in this room for 3 hours. He has to sit, yes. And then and the person is having backache, and that's the time he's saying I must go and see the doctor because of this one. And whenever it is 3, that is the time he's saying that I have to go to the doctor's at 3 o'clock because he have already scheduled like this one. So these are the must or have to. Complete the sentence with must or have to, so you can easily understand. You can use this. So there are lots of the other things, other issues with the modal verbs, so we look at that. So let's have proper introduction with modals. Yes, these are our modals. So will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, ought to, need, dare, and used to. So forget about and, dare, used to, etc. Okay, that means we have more as well. But if we talk about the genuine modals, so I have to tell you, these are the genuine modals: will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, and must. So there are ought to, need, dare, used to, and have to. So those are other verbs which including with affiliating with the to. They can also have the features of modals. So we have 9 basic modals, but definitely we have other verbs who can and be used as a modal. So these are the very primary things. So you can see these things, and this is necessary to tell you that will, shall, these, though we can generate future sentences through these words, but I have to tell you that in English language actually it doesn't have any future. You can say that through will and shall and have the basic forms of the verbs, we express future forms of English language. So that is why it must be some point you find difficulties to gather modals, and you might have conflict and between modals and the future tenses. But don't worry, here I am to discuss about these issues. So here are our modal verbs. So modal verbs express our attitude, opinions, and judgments of events. So we are talking about different events, and in those different events we can express our attitude, opinions, and judgments through modals. And modal verbs are used to express ability or capacity, probability or possibility, permission, command, compulsion, duty, obligation, and propriety. And propriety we means appropriate. So whether it is appropriate or not. So I am repeating those. We we try to express our ability or capacity, probability or possibility, permission, command, compulsion, duty, obligation, and propriety. So so these are the expressions we can express through modals, and it indicates present or future time through sometimes they also represent past. So mostly we do represent present and future time. So I have to do that. That means I need to do in future, in some point in future. So whenever we try to indicate present or future, we use modals, but we can or we do use for representing past, but and they are very limited, and provide additional information about the function of the main verb. So we need to understand that it is a helping verb, it is helping the main verb. So that's important to understand. So mainly it provides additional information in order to function with the main verb, with the principal verb. So modals are the auxiliaries and have a great variety of communicative functions. Yes, in order to communicate there are lots of the functions. So in order to have a great variety of communicative functions, we we do need modals in order to communicate. So we are here with the different modes of modals, different shades of modals. You know that lots of grammatical rules and regulations are there. So I am here to display some major rules, regulations from modals modals perspective, from grammatical perspective. First one is that there is no s in the third person singular number. So you know that every time whenever we use the third person singular number, we use a verb. Oh, sorry, we use s after a verb. For example, he goes, she eats. So like this one, we need to use extra s after the verb. But in modals we do not. She can sing. She can sing. So you need to understand that. So another thing is that sing is a main verb, but still there is no s or es after the third person singular number, and there is no does, don't, does not, whether it is a question sentence or it is a assertive negative sentence. For example, can I help you, it is a question sentence, but it is interrogative sentence, but you can see there is no do or does or don't or does not. So I cannot say can I do help you, or can I does help you, or can I don't help you. We cannot use these. And of course in the negative as well, you must not steal. So there is nothing like you do not must, or you must do not, or you do must not. So no do, does, don't, or does not in here. So still you can have complete expression through models. You do not know need these forms. Um, and no infinitives and no ing forms, other expressions are used instead. So that means as whenever in a regular sentence, so we can use ing form after the verb, or we can use infinitive forms after the verbs, but in here we do not need to. I would love to be able to sing. I would love to be able to sing. So there is no ing form, there is no infinitive, but still we can express this one. So I would love to be able to sing. So this is the example. But I always believe that I have to tell you that I believe in the context. So, though these are the basic forms, these rules will correct most of the cases, almost all of the cases, but I have to tell you that you need to understand the context as well. They don't usually have past forms. Instead, they are used with the perfect initiatives. I have already talked you this one, that it doesn't represent past, or I say that at limited functions for past forms, but they are used with the perfect initiatives. So that's why we use don't usually, because there are limited functions of past, but mostly they have perfect initiatives. What's like perfect initiatives? You should have told me that you can't swim, you might have drowned. So should, had, should have, in one sense we can say can't, and might have drowned. So we can say that you should have told me, that means you did not tell me this thing, that you cannot swim. It's a basic one, you can't swim. You might have drowned, so that means you did not drown, but still there was lots of possibilities to be drowned. So there is the might have, this one, and there is the obligation, and and whenever the person is expecting something, and you're pretty sure about that expectation. So that's the thing. Okay, lots of a hazy slide it is, but I had to. Yes, I had to input this in here, because it's a chart, and I have to show you all these things in one particular slide. So I think it might be a little bit difficult if you browse from mobile, but from computer, television, or maybe desktop, it would be a better viewing angle. So here it is. So we have must not, can, could, may, might, need not, should or ought to, and had better. And we have different expression relating or expressing these modal verbs, like as a must is used for strong obligation, logical conclusion, or certainty. So you must stop when the traffic lights turn red. He must be very tired. He has been working all day long. So logical conclusion or certainty and strong obligation, we use a must. So you need to understand that you need to have this thing in your mind, because whenever we will be doing the practices, or maybe you will be generating, so you need to understand that which forms of modals, or which modal verbs are used for what expression. Must not for provision. You must not smoke in the hospital. That means it is one kind of rule that you cannot. You cannot. There is no possibilities that is strongly prohibited. Bird. And then we can express the ability, permission, and possibility through can. I can swim. Can I use the phone, or can I come in for permission? And smoking can cause cancer, or the or what can I say? Can you can and score a good result? So there is a very good possibility. So these are the things or expressions can be expressed through can. And could for ability in the past, and polite permission and possibility. So polite, in order to, when you have very gentle request or gentle permission, and then then you are asking for the permissions, then you can use could. Excuse me, could I just say something? And the ability in the past, when I was younger, I could run fast. So the sentence here talks about something which happened before. A person could run fast, but when it was and the person was younger. Okay, and then may, it refers the permission and possibility or probability. So this might makes it a little bit complex when you see possibility, permission in there. So that means could and may, we can use both for permission. May I use your phone, please? So, and here you can use permission as well. So these are the things we need to understand that, because I already said that it depends on the context, so whether you should use can or could or may or not. So so you need to look at the context in order to understand and identify. But you need to understand that we can express as a permission, possibility, and probability through may as well. And then we have might, polite permission, possibility, and probability. And then need not, lack of necessity or absence of obligation. So whenever you are obliged, I mean if you are obligated, sorry, I said applies. I am really sorry. Whenever it is obligated, and there is absence, maybe lack of necessity, then you can see then you can use need not. I need not buy tomatoes. So there are plenty of tomatoes in the fridge. So here you can find a context, and in this context you can say that, okay, I need not buy tomatoes. And then should or ought to, it says 50% obligation, so that means you can do it, but there's a 50-50 chances. And then advices and logical calculation. For example, I should or ought to see a doctor. I have a terrible headache. So there is a headache, so you have to see a doctor. You should or ought to see a doctor. That means it refers that though you have a terrible headache, but still you are surviving. But if I replace it with must, for example, I must see a doctor. I must see a doctor. That means that you have to see a doctor, and there is no question about that. And then advice, you should or ought to revise your lessons. Revise. So for expressing advice, whenever you are advising some persons, so you can use should or ought to advise them. And the logical conclusion, he should or ought to very tired, he has been working all day long. So based on this particular sentence, he has been working all day long, it can be said that it is true, it is logical that he should or ought to be very tired. So because of his tiresome, are you tired? Yes, he's tiresome. So we can easily understand that he has been working all day long because of this tiresome. And had better is referring for the advice, you had better revise your lesson. So whenever maybe I am recommending you to revisit the lessons, redo the lessons. That is the time I could use had better in that particular context. Okay, now here I have textbook 1 and chapter 4, and that is doing the right thing, and this whole chapter mainly focused on the modals, and that's why I have taken this one. And you can easily see that I have taken unit 4 page 30 to 37 for this one, but this particular title, A World Guide to Good Manners, How Not to Behave Badly Abroad, how not to behave badly abroad. Okay, there will be no all here, by Norman Ramshaw. So you can find this particular title and text just a couple of pages as is from the chapter, that means from the unit 4. So here uh, is the introduction of this title. Traveling to all corners of the world gets easier and easier. We live in a global village, but this does not mean that we all behave in the same way. So the title is A World Guide to Good Manners, How Not to Behave Badly Abroad. So whenever we are traveling and in different continent or countries, we need to understand the cultures and manners in those countries. So that's why we need to understand these ones, how the people greet each other, what they wear, what they eat, what they drink, and how they live, and how they live. So those are the things we need to understand. So starting with the greetings, the question is, how should you behave when you meet someone for the first time? So before doing so, I have to tell you this particular one section is as whenever you will be referring as the greetings, you should take it in your consideration that you need to understand, you need to think maybe twice, what should you tell, how should you behave when you meet for the first time. Here are some examples. An American or Canadian shakes your hand firmly while looking you straight in the eyes. In many parts of Asia, there is no physical contact at all. In Japan, you should bow, and the more respect you want to show, the deeper you should bow. In Thailand, the greeting is made by pressing both hands together at the chest and and just and bowing your head slightly. In both countries, eye contact is avoided as a sign of respect. Yes, in Bangladesh as well, you cannot shake hands. Maybe you should avoid physical contact as well, and you should not look straight into the eyes. That is what is saying, straight into the eyes, like Americans or Canadians, because it might considered as a sign of disrespect in our country. So you need to understand that. But before enjoying the text, before understanding the culture, besides understanding the culture, you need to understand the use of modals in here. So what I will suggest you to write down the modals which are represented or which are depicted in this particular text on your script. So please do that. Please do that. May give a pause when you think it is necessary. Clothes. Many countries have rules about what you should and should not wear. In Asia and Muslim countries, you should not reveal the body, especially women who should wear long sleeve blouses and skirts below the knee. In Japan, you should take off your shoes when entering a house or a restaurant. Remember to place them neatly together facing the door you came in. This is also true in China, Korea, Thailand, and Iran. So, so definitely you need to develop the develop the dress code and the dress sense whenever you are traveling. So you need to understand whether it is Asian country or it is a Muslim country or not, whether you are in Japan or not. And you have to act as well. So these are the things. uh, Countries have rules about what you should and should not wear, what you should and should not wear, what you must wear, and what you should not wear, must not wear. In essence, we can say that. Food and drink in Italy, Spain, and Latin America, lunch is often the biggest meal of the day and can last 2 or 3 hours. Oh, that's huge. That's huge. In Bangladesh, we have maybe 30 minutes or 35 minutes, or in onces for 1 hour to have this meal, especially for lunch. Though we have lunch break for 1 hour, so maybe 30 to 35 minutes is enough for us. But because of their long meal, they actually, many people eat a light breakfast and a late dinner. So whenever they are eating breakfast, they take a very small portion of breakfast, and whenever they are taking dinner, they do it very lately, maybe after 10 or 11 p.m. In Britain, you might have a business lunch and do business as you eat. Okay, doing business and and eating. So you can see that in Britain you might, the phrase, the modals is might. So that means it is possible. So in Britain it is possible to have a business lunch and do business as you eat. In Mexico and Japan, many people prefer not to discuss business while eating. Lunch is the time to relax and socialize. So, but please do not do that in Mexico and Japan because they do not prefer. In Britain and the United States, it's not unusual to have a business meeting over breakfast, and in China, it's common to have business banquets, but you should not discuss business during the meal. So not only in Britain, but also in the States, it is not unusual to have a business meeting over breakfast. So you can have your breakfast and business meeting at the same time. But and in China as well, to have common business banco. So that means you should not, I mean, that there might be a whole day program, and during lunch time you can have banco, or buffet, or maybe meal feast, maybe the feast. and you can have your business after the meal as well. But one thing you need to follow, that during that the lunch, during the meal, you should not discuss business. So lunch time or meal time is only for the business. Only for taking meals, only for taking meals. You cannot talk about business in that time. You should not talk about business. Okay, so doing business, we are here how to, what to do whenever, if you want to have open or start a business with them. In most countries, an exchange of business cards is essential for all interactions. Okay, okay. Um, it is slightly different in Bangladesh, because we do have business cards, but as it says, in most countries an exchange of business cards is essential for all introductions. Not for all introductions, but in order to remember us, we do exchange business cards. You should include your company name and your position. If you are going to a country where your language is not widely spoken, you can get the reverse side of your card printed in the local language. Okay, okay. I think it is a good suggestion, because if you are moving to a country where your language is not spoken, so you can and print your information. That means your name, your company name, your designation, and company address, and all the other necessary informations on the other side, because most of the time other side at other side other side is white. That means nothing is written on the other side. So you can print it in the local language and you can deliver it or exchange it. In Japan, you must present your card with both hands, with the writing facing the person you are giving it to. So here we can see the use of must. So that means that there is an obligation. So that means in Japan you must. That means you always have to present your card with both hands, with the writing facing the person you are giving it to. So the written part should be at the top. In many countries, business hours are from 9 or 10 to 5 or 6. So that means from 9 morning or 10 morning to 5 or 6 in the afternoon. However, in some countries such as Greece, Italy, and Spain, some business close in the early afternoon for a couple of hours, then remain open until the evening. So in Bangladesh you can find sometimes people do have maybe 1 or 2 hours of break after lunch, and they redo or reopen their businesses or shops so after maybe 4 or 5, and keep it open till the evening, maybe 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, like this one. Okay. Japanese business people consider it their professional duty to go out to restaurants after work with colleagues. So business people, that means the people who are with business, maybe the office colleagues. So it is their professional duty to go out to restaurants after work with colleagues. So after work, they should hang out with colleagues. So it is Japanese people consider it as the professional duty, so that means they're very sincere about that. So if you are invited, you should not refuse. You can refuse, but you should not refuse. They are recommending you not to refuse, even if you don't feel like staying out late. So maybe you think that you should go early and you should sleep, but you should not refuse. Okay, there are some more tips for you if you want to go abroad and visit different places. In France, you should not sit down in a cafe until you have shaken hands with everyone you know. So whenever you are in France, don't sit down in a cafe, just shake your hands. So with all the persons in there, and then you can sit down. In India and the Middle East, you must never use the left hand for greeting, eating, or drinking. In Bangladesh, we do the same. We do not greet or eat or drink with our left hands. We always use our right hand to do so. In China, your host will keep refilling your dish unless you lay your chopstick across your bowl. So you have to lay your chopsticks across your bowl, or the host will think that you are still hungry. You are still there is still space for you to consume. So you need to lay your chopstick across your bowl. Most South Americans and Mexicans like to stand very close to the person they are talking to. You should not back way. I don't know whether you are liking it or not. Whenever some persons are talking to you, so they stand very close to you. So especially Americans and Mexicans, they do like to do so. And you should not back away. You can, but you should not. They're recommending you not to go, don't go back. In Ireland, social events sometimes end with singing and dancing, and you may be asked to sing. There will be an end here. And yes, in Ireland, yes, social events sometimes end with singing and dancing. I have seen this. I have seen this in different movies. That after ending different social events, they complete those events through singing and dancing together, all together. And you can be asked to sing as well, and you may be asked. You may be asked. In America, you should eat hamburger with both hands and as quickly as possible. You should not try to have a conversation until it is eaten. So look at the contrast. In India and the Middle East, you must never use the left hander for greeting, eating, or drinking. In America, you should eat hamburger with both hands. So that means you can use your left hands as well to use to eat hamburger. So you should eat it, and as quickly as possible you should eat, because maybe it will get cold if you eat slowly, and there will be mayonnaise and sauce, maybe the cheese. Because of the cheese, you need to eat as quickly as possible, and you should not try to have a conversation until it is eaten. And I also support this one for this thing, is that whenever you are eating quickly and you are talking to someone, that means there is a very strong possibility to have issues while you are eating. So do not do that. So whenever you are eating, just eat, and after eating you can conversate. Okay, now we have a matching to have the context, but there are another task you need to do, and that is you need to give me the context, or what could be the context. So any five context, any five context. No, just imagine the context and put this on a script and try to understand, because the context is necessary. So could you bring us the bill, please? Would you give me your work number, please? Can I help you to Lars Coffees, please? Can you tell me the code for Paris, please? I will give you a lift if you like. Would you mind opening the window? Could I have extension 238, please? So look at this sentence. So most sentences, so whenever you are asking questions, they are starting with could or would, or maybe can or would. So all of this, all of the use of these modal verbs makes you question a very polite one. So though we use please here, but still we could understand that we can use can, could, or would to make a polite request. Still, look at this in here, 2 large coffees, please. So no questions is there, but still you are asking. So in a polite one. And look at this second section, white or black, no problem, it is stuffy in here. Of course. Oh, shall I give you my mobile number too? This line is engaged. Would you like to hold? Yes, sir, I will bring it right away. One moment, I will look it up. Just looking. Thanks. That would be great. Could you drop me off at library? So these are the expression. Next expression I should tell you. So that how they will match each other. So you can put a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 after this sentence or before this sentence in order to match it. So in this particular fraction, I would like you to pause this one and make this thing happen, because in the next slide I'm going to show you the answer. So this is the time you need to pause it down. Okay, hopefully you have done that. I believe you have done it correctly, because all of them are very easy to understand. If you could imagine the context, if you can easily understand the context, then it will be a very easy one for you. Could you bring us the bill, please? Yes, sir, I will bring it right away. Would you give me your work number, please? Of course. Oh, shall I give you my mobile number too? Okay, let me give you let me make you for the first context. Could you bring us the bill, please? So the context is you are in a restaurant, maybe with your family, and whenever you have finished eating, you have seen and the waiter, and you say that could you bring us the bill, please? The bill of your meal. And then the waiter He said, yes sir, I will bring it right away, because that means he or she is going to bring that bill, or yes, bring the bill of a meal. So that is the context. So like this one, you can produce context. You can produce context as for all of this one. Can I help you? Just looking, thanks. Two large coffees, please, or white or black? Can you tell me the code for Paris, please? One moment, I will look it up. I will give you a lift if you like. That would be great. Could you drop me off at the library? And would you mind opening the window? No problem, it's stuffy in here. Could I have extension 238, please? That line is Angus. Would you like to hold? Okay, okay. So those are the keys. So you can easily understand. You can match with your answers as well. Okay, so now if you want to have more practice, you know where to go. You can have a textbook too for individual question exercises, as I have. You can get it easily, and I can also assure you that in textbook 1, that means in the from the headway book, you have lots of contextual exercises. So please do read, please do browse those pages. Definitely you will get some. Okay, now here we are at the very end. We are here for the conclusion. So lots of the issues you need to take care, you need to consider. So don't forget, modal verbs work like auxiliaries. So they are helping the main verbs. So they are the auxiliaries, so that's why they are the auxiliaries. Though the past of must is a had to, but must not and have to have different meanings. So as I say, that context is not only important but also essential element in any language, especially in English language. So you need to understand the context, because the context will give you different understanding, different comprehension. So look at it here. Must is had, and but had to, but must not and have to have different meanings. So if you want to have the expression with must, and you want to convert it in the past, then you have to use had to. But you know that must and have to have different meanings. Like, you must not drive home, that means you do not have to drive homes. Maybe you are sick, maybe you are not seeing, so maybe there are some problems in your eyes, maybe you do not have driving license, so you must not drive home. So there is obligation. Versus you don't have to drive home, that means we have a driver, so and there are lots of options available, so you don't have to drive home. You can drive home if you want, but I am suggesting not to drive home. You do not need to drive home actually. That's why context is always a factor. Let's look at another context. I will give you a shopping list so you won't forget anything, versus I will give you a shopping list so you don't forget anything. So won't forget versus you don't forget. So here you can see that I will give a shopping list so you won't forget anything. So that means we are talking about a hypothetical situation. That means you may forget the thing, that's why I have given you the shopping list. And here I will give you a shopping list so you do not forget anything. So it is a little bit strange in the sense that the first one is in the future form and the second section is in the present form. So you do not forget anything, that means you have this kind of tendency to forget. So that's why as you don't forget, so I will give you a shopping list whenever you will go to a shop. So these things you need to keep it in yourself. You should not forget these things. So I believe you have questions, you know what to ask the questions. Please do ask questions in order to have a proper idea and grasp the idea which I have provided in here. So this is the time to thank you for all of the things. You have been very passionate to do this particular slide narration, and I should admire your patience as well. And please, I should tell you, I should recommend you to start from the beginning. If you find something not clear, please do that. So thank you very much for everything, and wish you best of the luck. Hope you are doing well, not now, for the future as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.